The book has various characters in it, and they've sort of evolved over different editions. Like back in the first edition, there was one character which was a really badly drawn face that just appeared and has a little speech bubble that asks questions, and that badly drawn line face at some point turned into Brian Hemorrhage, who is definitely one of my favourite characters because his role in the book really is to, he's very thinly disguised me, essentially. He's like the person bumbling through life, trying to actually work out what's going on. In his case, he's trying to work out what's going on in the world of statistics. So he sort of appears and asks the sort of questions that a student might ask, or indeed I might ask when I'm learning about something new in statistics, which does happen. So I'm quite fond of him, I guess, just because there's a little bit of me in Brian. By a little bit, I mean a lot. And we have Cramming Sam. So her role is to kind of highlight the key bits of information. So she's the sort of like too long didn't read character. She has boxes that's like, if you're really cramming and you just want to know the key facts, Cramming Sam will pop up and tell you. There's some sort of slightly strange characters. So Oddity, Oddity's Lantern, he's just like a weird, psyched out hippie guy. He's basically in charge of a cult and he's trying to convince everyone to join his cult, and he does that by getting them to watch SPSS screencasts that have hidden subliminal messages in them that may have nefarious purposes. It's unknown, really, or it's known to me, but I'm not going to tell you. Oliver Twisted, who he flags extra material. So like if there's something quite statsy or mathematical that I didn't want to put in the book, Oliver will appear and say a load of weird stuff, but basically he's there to point you to a website. There's a dog who's probably also a favourite character because he's based on my dog. The Misconception Mutt, who is basically my Cocker Spaniel. So there's Correcting Cat. Basically there's a bit of interplay between Correcting Cat and Misconception Mutt. Misconception Mutt has misconceptions and the cat comes along and corrects him. So they sort of flag, funnily enough, common misconceptions in statistics. There's Satan's, as of this edition, there's still Satan's personal statistics slave, which is just a really bad pun on SPSS, really, who gives little tips on how to use SPSS. There is also Jane Superbrain, who is like, as the name suggests, kind of genius, and she pops up kind of giving bits of information that you maybe don't need to know, but are like, sort of at the more technical end of things. So little explanations of the more technical stuff where we needed a super brain to come and explain them because I couldn't really explain them very well. So I've got a character to do it for me. At the end of the chapter, there's a kind of schematic summarizing the main things in the chapter that involves Jane and Brian. And in the last edition, I developed that into a little story. So there's a little story running through the end of every chapter between Brian and Jane, and read it. And if you really like terrible fiction, read the end of chapter story between Brian and Jane, and you will see why I'm an academic author, not a fiction author.